From a distance, cold, silent, awesome, shrouded in mist, mountains can look like barren, rock-ribbed islands in the sky, mysterious, jagged monuments to time and change. But on a mountain itself, there may be all seasons, all regions of a continent, a marvelous variety of vegetation and wildlife, a whole world to explore. Without winter's snow and ice on mountain peaks that melt in spring and race downhill to the valley below, there would be no life in these remote gardens of the gods. Up close, a mountain slowly reveals its secrets. Far from home, in tumbling, splashing streams and rivers, the clown prince of saltwater diving ducks, the gaily feathered male harlequin duck, may be observed for a week or so each spring, performing aquatic courtship rituals, often with more than one male pursuing a single dusky brown female. Part honeymooner, part daredevil, these hardy little sea ducks walk, swim, and feed in the whirlpools and rapids of their wilderness Niagaras, then retreat to rocky perches to rest and possibly to do a little preening. How colorful this ancient tradition, and what an unexpected pleasure, the annual mountainside appearance of the breeding harlequins. What first brought the harlequins to these turbulent mountain streams? Food? Climate? Safety? We really don't know. But soon the females will start to build their nests along the shore, while the males prepare to fly back to the ocean. But the honeymoon isn't over yet. A handsome duck, but not much of a family man. Now here's a more familiar mountain inhabitant, a year-round resident of alpine rivers and streams, the dipper, the Teeter bird, the hermit of the waterfall, the tiny water Easel. This seemingly fearless, slate-colored bird can almost fly through the water, but much of the time it walks gingerly along shallow beds, foraging among the rocks and pebbles for aquatic insects, snails, and small fish. It is the only purely aquatic perching bird in North America. A mountain bird for all seasons, strong, sturdy, with highly waterproofed plumage, the busy little water ouzel. Further down the mountain, the waters run more slowly now and more quietly, as a moose cow and her yearling calf pause to graze on lush, underwater spring vegetation and then move on. Even here, ice may remain for days, even weeks, while a Barrow's golden-eyed duck preens its chest and wing plumage in anticipation of a summer on water, diving for food and nesting nearby in old tree hollows. The reigning monarch of the mountain skies, that powerful and wary predator, the great-winged fisherman, the bald eagle, casts its dark shadow across the landscape and glides in feet first for a smooth landing in a treetop nest. In a marsh by the shore of a river in Yellowstone National Park, bison and elk may be observed, grazing on spring grasses. And then one day a herd of elk begins its spring climb back to the high country, the cows pregnant and soon to give birth. Some mountains begin in the desert, others in grasslands or forests, while others show only a solid rock face. Depending on the mountain and where you are on it, it may be blistering hot, warm and sunny, windy and cool, or high up where the mountain goats roam, a day in late spring can be as cold as the dead of winter. But that wouldn't bother these energetic mountaineers, the Olympic Marmot. A familiar alpine neighbor of the marmot approaches, a black-tailed deer. In high country, patches of deeply packed snow may be seen side by side with green alpine meadows, where mountain birds sing among the budding branches of the trees. A Clark's nutcracker, named after the mountain explorer and adventurer William Clark of Lewis and Clark, catches our eye, but unfortunately only for a moment. Nearby, a royal blue Steller's jay forages along the ground for pinecone seeds and acorns. Hidden, well camouflaged in the trees and spring grasses, are the nests of the mountain birds, like the Oregon junco, with hungry young to feed. Father perches in a tree close by, guarding the nest, while mother collects food for the baby birds. In high meadows, flowers seem to suddenly burst into bloom. Each spring, mountain goats give birth to their kids in secluded mountain hideaways. Spring is also a time for day-long feeding and molting, for shedding one's scruffy-looking winter coat, for something more sleek and appropriate to the warmer winds of summer in high places. Their haunting faces are as mysterious and ageless as the snow-covered faces of the mountains themselves. At such incredible heights, one may be surprised to discover a neighbor from one's own backyard or cottage, a perky little chipmunk gathering goat hair, which it compacts and carries to its nesting hole as insulating mattress material. Another mountain marmot, this time the Yellow-Bellied Marmot, or mountain woodchuck. It's found in the Rockies and the Sierras. You can see it only from spring to late summer. The rest of the year it hibernates. Spring continues. Water ouzels build their nests in cliffs by a cascading waterfall, often stopping for an invigorating shower bath and a quick plunge. With food in its mouth, an ouzel flies off to the nest where its young brood is waiting impatiently. Summer comes quickly to the mountains. Elk with their calves graze in the high grasslands by the edge of a sun-dappled river. An impressive bull elk with its summer velvet rack grazes nearby. Summer may be short or long, but fall is inevitable with all its beautiful colors, gentle rainy days, storms, and quiet times. A common grasshopper walks over a patch of early snow, while a sluggish bee refuses to abandon a yellow flower. The rarely seen white-winged crossbill perches on a branch, and one day, giant snowflakes descend on alpine forests. In Glacier National Park, a bald eagle glides back and forth over the river, searching for migrating salmon. The eagle appears to have something in its talons, a fish, possibly a small salmon. Another bald eagle would like to grab it away, even in flight. The fall breeding season has begun for the bighorn sheep who move down to lower mountain ranges. The biggest and strongest rams competing for the attention of the ewes. The young imitate adult behavior. The youngest may still try to feed off mother, possibly without success. Wearying of the chase, an old ram sinks down to the ground to rest up for the strenuous days ahead. Also observed resting is the sleek and beautiful phantom cat of the high country, the cougar or mountain lion. Fast and powerful, a loner, a wanderer, it moves with grace and dignity through the deepest forests and over high mountain trails, wild and untamed as the mountain itself. By autumn, the elk breeding season is already over, so they wander through the forest, grazing and storing energy for the winter ahead. Another wanderer is this fine-feathered gypsy, the Bohemian Waxwing. It roams the northwestern mountain forests, usually in large flocks, until it finds food, mostly berries and fruits. Then it feeds ravenously, sometimes pausing to bathe in a nearby stream. These nomadic birds can thrive in the coldest weather, as long as there is food. When the food runs out, they move on. By November, the lush green days of summer and the blazing colors of autumn have given way to signs of approaching winter. Even in geyser country, in Yellowstone National Park, where thermal springs keep the rivers open year-round. Snow is falling in the Waterton Lakes region, but for the mule deer, the rutting season is still in progress. The swollen neck and the stiff-legged walk are indications that this old buck is more than ready to mate if he can find an available female. Meanwhile, he feeds on grasses, woody plants, and browse, as do the does and fawns nearby. If food is scarce, many mountain animals may not survive the harsh winter ahead. The old, the sick, and the weak are most vulnerable. One high country inhabitant, however, who seems well adapted to winter conditions on the mountain, is the white-tailed ptarmigan, seen here just before its speckled plumage turns winter white. This chunky, rugged bird has feathered feet and legs for added protection from the cold. By early December, the mountain goats have returned to high, windswept slopes where they hope to find food beneath the powdered snow, sporting their fine winter coats. It's not fashionable these days to put human thoughts and emotions into the minds of wildlife, to try to imagine how mountain goats might feel about their mountains, what they might tell us if they could speak our language. Still, face to face with one of these magnificent beasts, one can't help wondering. Unlike the mountain goats, we have only begun to discover life on a mountain, to see it as they see it, up close, moving up and down the slopes through all seasons and all regions, as if crossing a continent. As the days grow shorter, life on a mountain seems to slow down, as if finally the rock giant was falling asleep. We still sense that feeling of solitude and freedom, but now possibly we sense the desolation and loneliness as well. But snow and ice are already beginning to build up in high peaks and cliffs and valleys, so that next spring, once again, the river of life will cascade down the mountainside as the sleeping giant awakes.
Coming up next, Michael packs his instant family off to his penthouse. But why? Find out next on My Two Dads, followed by 227.